So today I had an opportunity to drop into Baltimore by way of cyberspace. During the one of Lady J's um, enterprises. What up, Baltimore is another thing that she does. Lady J is really an up and coming superstar, media wise, in Baltimore City. Watch out for that lady. She's gonna don't 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 be surprised if she's not another Oprah in terms of her capacity to draw people and bring people in her circle. This particular show today, it's coming out of Baltimore. Baltimore. It's called Let's Talk Money, and it's hosted by Sister Bazemore. I hope I get an opportunity to meet her. She's doing some dynamic things in Baltimore as well. But I just popped into the show, gave some comments, and then had an opportunity to ask a question related to that. So to my Baltimore peeps, love you. Let's get started.
So he could prevent us from getting it, but it was too late for Kenny. He caught it, okay? And he had to be hospitalized because of him losing his taste and not eating. So he became so dehydrated till he fainted on me one morning. And thank God I was there to catch him. And I rushed him straight to the emergency room. And then they did a second COVID. We had just got the tests back that Sunday. And it was negative for him, and I positive for Anthony. Okay? And so I think this is somebody calling, but I can't take your phone calls. You have to put it in the comment line, or you can't FaceTime me. You have to put it in the comment line, or you have to call into the show, live show, 443-297-4753, and be part of this discussion this morning. Hello, Michael from Tampa by way of Sandtown. Hello, how you doing, Michael? Nice to see you this morning. Good morning. So what do you think about the Build Back plan? Because really, I got to tell you, it's another new deal that will have people relying and depending on government, and it will do nothing for putting money immediately in the American people's pockets that make $100,000 or less a year. And then they lowered the threshold doing the 2.5 to 75,000 or less, and 150 below 150 for couples. But why is this? Why should they just be keeping the same? Really, I'm going to tell you something. I hope some of you that follow me on Facebook, you guys know I put out there this morning that really this package should be a $530 billion package only. And every penny of that money should be actually sent to Americans that are making under $100,000 a year. And I think I may have put 75,000. But even if we say 75,000 a year, and you figure roughly about 40, last I did the research, about 41 million people make under 100,000 or less a year. 41 million Americans. If you look at just a family of 3 children, an adult husband and wife, we're talking about it would cost $263.5 billion. You multiply that by 2 months, November and December, and you get $530 billion. That should be it. The American people should get 100% of this round of stimulus. And it should be a stimulus to stimulate the market. Because if you do that, you're going to help prevent evictions, because they didn't even know how to get that. States didn't even know how to get that money out right. Because what they did, they got with their little friends Some of the mayors in these urban cities got with their little friends, their little frat brothers and sisters, and created companies and created nonprofits and gave them the contract to be responsible for doing the application and handling the portal. And now they're stuck. So many people have in Baltimore City haven't not even seen the first day on rental check. And it was supposed to, you could actually apply for up to 18 months of rental assist, emergency rental assistance payment. And we're going to be talking about that again on Monday, how they have just squandered. A lot of these states have squandered in cities a lot of this money. Governor Hogan did the right thing. He knew he was going to have to send back the balance December the 31st of last year. And see, so even Congress, even the federal government received money back. So we don't need, you got the airlines that they got over $250 billion at the beginning, off the bat. Hospitals, research centers, scientists, pharmaceuticals, they got over $500 billion of that first and second round. I'm just laying out the facts, folks. The only people that got left out was the American people, really. They only got 9% of both of those stimulus packages. So we got Michael Randolph saying a person has to earn $35 an hour to live in a decent place, or they force you to live in the hood. You're right, Michael. But guess what? That's not on government. I'm going to say it again. That's on businesses. And a lot of these large businesses with 300 or more employees, they should be paying at least $15, $20 an hour. Absolutely. I'm a former 10-year CEO of a high-tech firm right up the street from the White House before I sold it. It's not on government to take care of people. All you're going to do is enlarge government. And at the same time, we all know how much corruption and waste and embezzlement goes on in these government, local, on a local level and a state level. And it used to be even on a federal level, but they don't play on the federal level. If you have the right administration in there, they don't play. I know in the 70s and 80s and 60s, they did not play. The federal government, the FBI, the Attorney General's office, they did not play. But now you got people that are corrupt themselves that run these various agencies. So no, y'all have got to call and call your congresswoman or congressman today. This country cannot afford. Then you done brought in over 1 million illegal immigrants. And they're bringing in variants. How y'all think the Delta got here? I mean, us Americans have to be vocal. We have to speak out. We have, why should we suffer? Look, Congress and the House, Senate, even the president, they are our servants. We're not their servants. They're our servants. And our tax dollars will have to be the one to actually pay these trillions of dollars back. Our grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and possibly, if this bill passed, great-great-grandchildren will have to pay this money back. Why do you think they actually got a bill in the House right now where they want to actually have IRS? They want to hire 87,000 more new IRS agents so that they can audit us. They want to pass a bill, and y'all have got to call today. I've already called. I'm already sending everybody. And I'm not just stopping with my representative, okay? I've already put it out there on Facebook, and if y'all notice, I hashtagged Congress, Senate. So I've already made my voice been heard. Y'all have got to make your voice be heard, okay? Because they want to pass a bill that will have our banks, our credit unions, our credit card institutions to report anytime we have $10,000 or more in our account. And of course, over $10,000 is going to go through your account a year. Of course it is. So they're lying to us. They're not targeting the wealthy. No way, shape, or form are they targeting the wealthy. They're targeting everyone across the board. And you know who's going to suffer the most? The poor and the middle class. Because how do you think this? They're lying to you when they say it's going to cost zero. Biden is lying to you. Everyone needs to beware of sheep in wolf's clothing. They appear on the outside to be a lamb, but they're waiting to devour you. They're waiting to devour you, but they're appearing to be a lamb. Oh, Joe is so likable. But you look at you go to congressional.org and you look at this man's track record in his voting and bills that he brought forth on the House and on the Senate side in the history of his 50 years being in politics. Okay? The only way change comes is when the masses take part. Absolutely, Michael. All of us have to take part. All of us have to have a voice. So good morning to everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And I tell you what, Nicole, even though you didn't pay taxes on that money, make sure that you have so much talent. Make sure that you're doing something to elevate so you can have additional. This is another reason. It's not fair to us. This is another reason why they need to pay the $2,000 a month for the next 2 months. 3 months, because they're going to owe us for October, November, and December. And really, they should retroact the payments. They should retroact it. But I'm talking about so we can be moderately conservative. The October, November, December, it would only take roughly about $600 billion to make that happen. Let us get 100%. And then as far as small businesses and PPP, they need to bring back the PPP program because still a whole lot of small businesses are suffering because they have to pay more money to get people to work. People, they're lacking equipment. They still have to protect their customers. Okay? So they need additional help. They have to hire more people. That's what that PPP was for. They lost their employees. You're going to have so many tens of thousands of small businesses that already went out of business. I'm talking about businesses that have been around for 50, 60, 70 years, have went out of business. So we have got to be reasonable, but we have got to be conservative, and we have to look at the entire puzzle. Okay, we don't need a child care credit. Now, guess what, folks? That child care credit, that $250 to $300 that they've been sending some of you, that's ending at the end of the year. It's ending because they're calling themselves. That's the way they negotiate to bring the $3.5 trillion package down. Now they're at about $1.8 trillion. No. That package should be about $560 billion only. And every last penny of it should go to Americans making $100,000 or less, or couples making $150,000 or less, because we can take care of our own bills. And those of us that are on social welfare and they're going back to work, they already have a program up under each state's welfare system to take care of child care. So why are we double dipping here? Why are we double dipping here? And then even our child care providers, they were able to get stimulus as well as the EIDL money. They got estimated, last I saw was about $84 billion that they want to reseed in the Senate and in Congress, and they snuck it in this particular Build Back Better plan so they could take and reroute the fraud, the money they're recollecting from people that committed fraud, that applied for PPP that shouldn't have got PPP. And before it's over, they're going to have about $120 billion because $1 trillion went toward that program in the CARE Act total. But they want to redirect now money for small businesses to the infrastructure package. Look, y'all have got to call your Congress and your senators. You have to. We can, and thank God the Republicans are not in this at all. But they need to be fighting for producing a bill so we can immediately put that money in the economy by giving it to the American people. Money that y'all should have been paying the American people making $100,000 or less since the beginning of the pandemic. And what they did was dangled us for 7 months before they got a little $600 check out. Then they dangled us for another January, February. The checks went out in March, 2.5 months. Now they're dangling us April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and now we in November. They carrying us the same way they carried us when this first started. And the American people only got 9% of the $17 trillion that now we're in debt. 17 trillion. Okay. So we have got to stop being foolish and stop acting like we naive. Because there's plenty of people now putting the truth out there. And if y'all are not going to be willing to participate by just simply making a phone call to your Congress, and guess what? I'm going to help everybody out. I'm going to post it in the narrative, the daggone link to click and get in touch with your senator and your congresswoman. You can call in at 443-297-4753. That's 443-297-4753. And so, look, good morning, Gan. Thank you, my friend. Okay, so I'm seeing good mornings, but I would love to see some more comments or ask some more questions because it's very serious what's going on. And see how God works? See, God is in everything. People that don't know God, I feel for you. I really am saddened for you. But those of us that know how God works, God is in everything. I don't care if it's the kings and queens or presidents or prime ministers or whoever. God is ruler. God is ruler. Look how fast that daggone pandemic spread it to 219 countries, like in less than 6 months. But look at some of the good that came out of it. Some of the good that came out of it, the animals could just roam the earth freely without human contact, without getting hit by vehicles. The atmosphere was purified again. Okay, check out the science. I'm going to put that link in there too. Just check out the environmental science of the difference this year and a half has made. And okay, the ozone layer has started correcting itself. Okay, all the emissions, toxins, no longer in the atmosphere. Wow. So look at how the earth was blessed even with a pandemic. God is always graceful and merciful to us, his creation. And I'm his child, not just his creation, I'm his child and servant. So call on in 443-297-4753. Okay, we've got about 9 minutes left in the show. Wow, how time really flew this morning. Any questions about, but we've got to stop them from actually passing that bill. And see, the pressure is on. They even have They even have the left-wing moderates. Yes, Michael. Even the left-wing moderates. I mean, even the left-wing Democrats. I said, no deal. We can't look. I said this 2 years ago when I began to educate Americans about personal finances. A conversation, a statement came up, and I said, look, when people come in the country legally, we know who they are. We can vent them. It helps us maintain the safety of our country. And the second thing it does, we can sustain it. We can sustain it within that fiscal year budget. Those projections over the next 10 years, we can sustain it. Let me tell you what another thing this is going to do. This will not only having those additional million people in here, and they're estimating actually 1.8 million has come to that southern border. And he did this on purpose, for purpose. Remember who President Joe Biden is and what cloth he comes from, and these various, some of these Democrats and some Republicans. I'm just going to be honest, folks. I can count on one hand the Republicans don't. And you can watch their moves to see who they are. Okay? But it's about cheap labor. It's about, you Americans ain't going to go back to work. Y'all holding the workforce hostage. Y'all boycotting the economy by not going back to work. Well, a lot of people ended up, and even 42,000 plus people in the state of Maryland has still waiting on the unemployment stimulus money that's owed to them. They pick people out, and I helped a couple of people apply for it. And these were people that the government agencies were closed. So those particular insurance agents and annuity agents couldn't go in to see their clients, or couldn't even go. All they deal with is federal and state employees. So that cut their earnings off. They had no other choice but to apply for the what was it called? The PUA. And they had their IDs. They done uploaded their IDs and everything. They sent them a card and then cut it off, talking about fraud. Wow. And then because our city government and a lot of our state government buildings, agencies are not open, where does that leave the taxpayers that pay their salary at? They can't even go in to prove who they are. They upload everything 3 or 4 times. And still they're not releasing their daggone unemployment card so they can pay their bills. So we're getting ready to see some things if that bill passes, and without stimulus directly to Americans. And if they rescind that almost $120 billion that's left in SBA for PPP, instead of opening that portal up again for a third round, so people that never even got a second round or can apply, or the ones that applied, they ran out of money. I don't know how they say they ran out of money, but they ran out of money. But now money's billions of dollars is coming back because they've prosecuted and got that money back. Look, those are the only 2 things that this Congress and this Senate should be focused on right now. Because if they do the right thing, if they do what I'm saying they should be doing, immediately people will spend that money, a lot of that money, back into the economy. Landlords would not be suffering right now and having to waste time and money taking their tenants to court, because then their tenants would have the money to catch up on back rent. If Congress spent their time going to each state and holding them accountable and saying, okay, the money that you have for emergency rental, we want it out the door over the next 20 days, or you got to send it back to the federal government, to HUD. If we, our Congress and our Senate, will hold people and government entities accountable, then we would not need to go this route. And we shouldn't have to go this route in the first place. So that's Build Back Better. It's not building back better because it does nothing to put money in the American people's pockets right now when they really need it. And they dangled the American people. They only sent out 4 checks total. So they dangled, matter of fact, they only sent out 3 checks. The 1,200, the 600, and the 1,400. And they promised more. But this is what they call more. This is what President Biden and Congress calls more. The Democrats call more. It's not more stimulus. It's not going to help the economy. Instead, it's going to jack the cost of living up. And they've even lied to us about the cost of living. Cost of living has been well over 17% during this pandemic. They've lied to us by trying to be so-called conservative and playing a guess and throwing a 6.8% cost of living out there, which the number's not right. It's come down now, but the cost of living is about at least 10 to 12%. What do you think that's doing to the American dollar? Okay, so thank you so much, everyone, for coming in. Thank you for the questions. Let's talk money. This is episode 8, and I appreciate all of you for coming in. I hope that I've answered some of the questions that have been in Americans' mind of what was in this bill, because all the president has been doing is talking about building back better, and everyone has been talking about and having everyone focus on the amount of the bill versus focused on the 200,000 plus pages of what's in the bill. In terms of making eyeglasses and making hearing aids more affordable, that's a program already exists for that up under AARP and up under the Social Security, because they actually have a program up under Part D, I believe, that actually pays for your hearing aid. It pays for your glasses, okay? You just have to go ahead and call Medicare and Medicaid and your private insurance, because there's already programs and insurance out there that already pays for those things. Lowering the prescription drug costs. Well, President Trump already has signed an executive order to do just that, where we're paying pennies like the rest of the nations. You know, it's amazing what I'm watching this president do. He's going to avoid all of the former president's great policies that was put into place during executive orders. And yet, he done made a muck out of the border. He done made a muck out of now even his own party is not with the bill. It's not with the bill. Okay? So we got to do our part as Americans. We got to call or email our Congress and senators. I love you all. You guys.
You have a caller. Ms. Bateman, you have a caller.
Yes. How can I help you, caller? Good morning.
Hello, this is Michael Wade from Tampa, Florida, by way of Sandtown. How are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Michael. Well, you caught me at the 11th second. What's your question?
My question is related to the stimulus check. My concern is that when people got that check, like always, they act like consumers and they use that money to buy things instead of using that money to invest, to make that money work for them. And the reason why the stimulus check is like that is not to help blacks as much as it is to help the businesses. And black people need to start investing that money and make that money work for them.
Yeah, so that's a good comment.